Today on ZZZ Made Easy, we're taking a look at Zhu Yuan's move list and showcasing what you need to know to start laying down some sick moves. This is not a build guide, and Zhu Yuan has a lot of input-dependent moves, so I want this to be a starter to lay out the basics with hopes you can then experiment on your own. I'll share a few combos I like to do in-game at the end. First off, Zhu Yuan is an ether attacker agent who uses enhanced shells to unleash quick bursts of damage. She mixes melee martial arts with ranged attacks and has good options to react to incoming attacks while being fairly mobile. Zhu Yuan's ranged attacks do have damage fall off. In the training lab, she deals full damage for about 2.5 or so tiles. For every one tile she moves back, damage drops to 75%, 50%, and then 25%. From my testing, her ult doesn't seem to have any major damage drop off, but it can potentially miss some of its hits. Now, you don't need to worry too much about damage fall off because Zhu Yuan's basic attack string has lunging melee hits that bring her right up to the enemy. Zhu Yuan does 5 attacks, but pay attention to her third flurry of hits. This third basic attack string happens a lot, and it's a good indicator because Zhu Yuan's 4th and 5th basic attacks load 1 enhanced shell each. In the upper left, under her portrait, you can see she can store up to 9 enhanced shells. Now, Zhu Yuan's core passive states, using enhanced shells increases her damage, and using enhanced shells on stunned enemies basically doubles that bonus. She also enters battle with 6 enhanced shells loaded up. Ultimately, this is another free damage passive, but ideally Zhu Yuan does want to unload as many enhanced shells possible during that stun phase. Her general playstyle is to do certain actions to load shells, stun the enemy, and then unload shells for burst damage. To use the enhanced shells, Zhu Yuan needs to enter Suppressive mode. You can do this by holding down the basic attack button at any point. Suppressive mode swaps to a Mozambique 3-pellet shotgun mode. Zhu Yuan would be great at FPS games because despite the bullet trails on screen, it doesn't seem to matter how far you are away from enemies, her shotgun blast always seems to hit 3 times. These are piercing attacks, and you can use Suppressive mode at any time. If used with enhanced shells, Zhu Yuan uses 1 shell to deal ether damage. Her suppressive mode has a 3-part combo with the first 2 parts expending 1 shell each, and the third part being its own 3-hit barrage. In total, she fires 5 shells before repeating this chain. Do note that all enhanced shell attacks do the same damage, you just want to unload as many as you can as fast as possible. We should now talk about all the ways Zhu Yuan gets enhanced shells. As mentioned earlier, her 4th and 5th basic attack strings each grant 1 shell each. Her dodge counter grants 1 shell, and this is a great way to stock up when mobs aren't stunned. If Zhu Yuan performs a quick assist, she loads 1 shell while swapping in. If you do an evasive assist into the follow-up attack, she's going to load 3 shells. Honestly, pretty good incentive to use perfect assist. When using her EX special, this grants 3 shells along with good burst. This will be the main way to load up shells on demand. Now, if Zhu Yuan performs a chain attack, that grants 3 shells, and finally, her ultimate also grants another 3 enhanced shells. Zhu Yuan has 7 ways to stock up on ammo, and as an attacker, you generally want her to be doing lots of chain attacks and ultimates, which means she very quickly can stock up. While she gets extra damage against stunned enemies, there are lots of opportunities to fire off enhanced shells throughout a fight. Mixing basic attacks, dodges, and shotgun blasts gives Zhu Yuan a lot of options. Before moving on to some technical stuff, I want to go over the rest of her kit. First, Zhu Yuan's normal special can be used 3 times back to back. I haven't really found a use for this besides activating chain attacks quickly. Second, let's discuss her additional ability. Zhu Yuan is unique because unlike our launch cast, she doesn't activate her additional ability if paired with another ether agent. Instead, Zhu Yuan wants to be paired with a support agent. She still has the usual faction bonus, but instead of running Zhu Yuan with the only other ether agent, Nicole, you can run her with any support. Now, Nicole is a support, so it doesn't really matter, but if you want to use Lucy, Sokaku, or Rina, then it's totally fine. Try to activate this ability because Zhu Yuan gets 30% crit rate for 10 seconds after she uses an EX special, chain attack, or ultimate. These are all things she wants to be doing anyway and should basically always be active if you're going into a stun phase. We've gone over the basics of Zhu Yuan's kit, but there are a lot of quirks worth knowing about. Most importantly, Zhu Yuan can go directly into a dash attack while doing her basic attack string or the suppressive mode barrage. Inputting a direction will make her reposition, and this actually can trigger the perfect dodge slow-mo effect. As far as I know, this doesn't count as a dodge counter, but it feels good to pull off. Now, this mid-combo dash attack is useful for repositioning and skipping certain attack strings. For example, you can do the first basic attack, side dash attack, then go into the third basic. Next, there is some tech when using Zhu Yuan's EX special. If you think Zhu Yuan is a little too far away after using the EX special, you can do a basic attack, and she's going to do a forward slide to get closer. She actually does the same slide if you basic attack after a chain attack as well. Now, for the EX special, this will only occur if you do it with no movement input. With that said, if you input a side or forward direction while casting the EX special, Zhu Yuan will do a quick dash before firing. I like to do this instead since it puts her closer without the slide. You can also go directly into suppressive mode afterwards. If you want to get fancy, you can also use the EX special during basic attacks. Like the dash attack, this can be used to skip the second basic attack and the third basic lunge to an enemy. If you use EX special after the fourth basic, it's going to continue into the fifth basic afterwards. This is good to know if you want to iframe something with the EX special and then getting to that fourth and fifth basics to load extra shells. So, I'm sure I haven't covered everything when it comes to Zhu Yuan's little details, but to try and keep this guy beginner friendly, I want to end this video with 3 combos you can try to implement into your gameplay. One useful combo for Zhu Yuan comes from a dodge counter. If you perfect dodge, then dodge counter, immediately hit the basic attack button. This is going to begin the third basic attack string and then follow up with the fourth and fifth string. You want to do this basic attack with no movement input, otherwise you would do a dash attack and then start over from the first basic. With the dodge counter into third, fourth, and fifth basic attacks, this would grant 3 enhanced shells, very useful for the neutral game. Let's now go over how to just unload all 9 shells as fast as possible. You could just stay in the suppressive mode since Zhu Yuan repeats the chain. However, consider doing a side movement input after the 5th shotgun blast. This is the 3 quick shots. Since a side input in suppressive mode does an enhanced dash attack, this will also fire 1 shell and then immediately put Zhu Yuan back into the 3 quick shot combo. The initial 5 shots plus 1 dash attack plus 3 quick shots will spend all 9 enhanced shells. One thing I like about Zhu Yuan is that she can stack her enhanced shells while you're going into a boss's stun state. For example, if you start with no shells but the boss gets stunned, let Zhu Yuan do a chain attack for 3 shells. Afterwards, she can do an ultimate for 3 shells and then follow up with an EX special for 3 more shells. You can then spend the remaining stun time blasting away. You can switch things up depending on the situation though. For example, Nicole is going to be the main support for Zhu Yuan. Defense Shred, Ether damage bonuses, and for those lucky enough to get Cinema 6 Nicole, she grants crit rate too. The issue is that Nicole's debuffs and buffs last a very short duration. After the chain attack, you may want to ult or EX special, then swap to Nicole for her EX special to reapply her energy field, trigger the quick assist back to Zhu Yuan. From there, you can unload enhanced shells. It could also be better to let Nicole do the last chain attack since you can quick assist from there as well. Nicole feels pretty strong as a support teammate, but her timings are a little bit strict. Zhu Yuan's a very flashy character whose core gameplay revolves around stocking up on enhanced shells, then using suppressive mode to fire said shells for massive ether damage. Ideally, she wants to blast away on stunned enemies, but against moving targets, she has a lot of repositioning tools. This leads to a lot of freedom while attacking, and you can go from basics to suppressive mode fairly fast, while also being able to mix in dodges and EX specials. Overall, a fun agent to play, although at times maybe a little hectic. Thank you for watching, have fun with Officer Zhu Yuan, or good luck getting her. I will see you in the next video.